Hello everybody and welcome back to Beartooth Hill Bike Park. In this episode we will build the first roller coaster, and you can already see that in your screens now. I have spoken briefly about this in previous episodes, but yeah, this is an Alpine coaster and I've got inspiration from this from the one that I have been on in France, and I'll speak a little bit about that later on. But immediately now you can see me starting to build this netting and a catwalk which goes along the side of the track, and that's just to keep people safe from loose items. And although there might not be many people there, it still adds to the detail and it allows people to clearly see that it is an Alpine coaster, because I'm not sure about all of them, but the one that I went on definitely had this netting on, and it distinguishes the fact that it is an Alpine coaster, so that you can clearly see what I'm trying to make. But yeah, you can see lots of custom pieces going in. A lot of these are from the theme maker's toolkit. For example, the nets are the whole net, which is quite a nice piece to use. You can recolour the inside of it, so I went for a tinted green because that's what the colour of these nets are in real life. I'm not sure why they're all green, but I'm guessing it's so that it camouflages with the landscape so it doesn't look like too much of an eyesore. But you can also see the arms coming out to support them. It almost makes it have a tubular look. But yeah, those are small beam pieces. Again, I've used these quite a lot in this series. Yeah, because the art shapes are too big, so you use the beam pieces to get that detail in more. But yeah, these are actual art shapes to make these steps. And yeah, they do have a catwalk. I use lots of reference photos and videos to make this. But yeah, in the intro, well, not the intro, but at the start I talked about the roller coaster that I have been on, which is an Alpine coaster. It's called Speed Mountain after ski resort in France called the Three Valleys, and this specific village it's in is called Les Meuniers. And I went on that last year. It was around this time last year, probably a month ago last year. And it's nothing special. You can't expect to get tons of thrill from an Alpine coaster, but it's still a fun ride and it was a cool little credit to get. And yeah, I will take a lot of inspiration from that, all the different elements and the different turns that they have. You can see that there is 2 lift hills to take it around this bend. The Speed Mountain, the lift hill, the entire lift hill is straight, but it is split off with different sections so that it puts less strain on the chain, I guess. But yeah, you can start to see the track here, and this first turnaround was heavily inspired from Speed Mountain. You go around fairly slowly and then there's a little drop, which is probably the most exciting part of the whole ride. You can get a little pop of air time, but usually these things run fairly slowly because you've got your own brakes on the car, you can control your speed, and although that's not a feature in the game, I will put the friction multiplier quite high so that it does make it slow down more than it normally would, so that simulates the fact that people might be braking on it. Also, with the fact that it being in the winter, it'll be quite cold, so it won't really run quickly at all, because when it's warm the wheels have less friction, I guess, and I'm pretty sure that's how it works. But yeah, they run a lot faster when the temperature is warmer, but that really won't be the case for this. But this one is actually quite extreme. I've looked at some of the G-forces and they do get up to like 1.5 on laterals, which is quite a lot, but this is the wooden Wild Mouse model. That's the one that I use because it's got a little separate piece going down the middle of it, as you can see, and well, that would be used to keep the car on the track, because the train clips on the inside of the track, it doesn't hold the outside of it, so there's 2 lines going down the middle. The train has this little thing on the bottom, I don't know how to call it, but that will then stop it from flying off the top, and then it has separate wheels which run along the rails on the edge. But yeah, it's not held on that tightly, but it doesn't need to be really. And of course, with it being a vintage ride, it wouldn't have the best safety things going. The Wild Mouse at Blackpool Pleasure Beach closed, and that did feel quite unsafe. It's got some of the most intense airtime I've ever been on. You're almost stood up on some of the drops, and I'm certain that you could probably get injured if you stood up too high. It's quite mad, and I can see why it's closed, but it's sad to see it closed. But I don't know why I'm talking about wooden Wild Mouse, because that's not actually what we're building. That's just the type of ride that it is. But yeah, I did use it for that reason. You can see that the cars are fairly similar to what an Alpine Coaster would have, but unfortunately, because of the game, they've got these small weird mouse features on, like a nose, 2 eyes, and it would have whiskers as well, but I've changed the paint for the whole thing to be red so that the features for the mouse don't stand out as much, but if you look closely you can see the little eyes and nose which poke out a little bit. But yeah, like I said about this ride being fairly intense for an Alpine Coaster, it does have a very tight and steep last turn into the brakes, and I thought that would be a brilliant climax to finish the ride, and then the brakes will slow it down whilst it goes downhill, because the Alpine Coaster that I went on, it was the same for this one. The brake run went downhill, and I think it had more than one brake run as well, and you can see that this does as well. But yeah, there's already a little bit of a station which has had quite a lot of progress on it, and I built that off camera because at the time I wasn't really sure how it would go. I thought I might end up deleting some things and going back, and that was the case. It was quite slow. It was quite a slow process to build the station, so I decided not to record it. But yeah, like I've been saying previously in the series, if I tried to record everything, then it would drag out the series because I can only have so much in a single episode. But again, now I'm building some more custom catwalks using the stair pieces. This took absolutely ages, but I think it gets the effect I was looking for. It's not the most detailed, there's not really any textures for grip on the stairs at all, but I'm hoping people won't look that closely to get the detail, but from a distance you can tell it's an Alpine Coaster, and I think it looks fairly good. Not all of the roller coaster has netting on it, because there will be some sections which are fenced off, so people won't be walking under that part of the track anyway. But the lift hill, of course, because people want to walk up and down the lift hill if they want to maintain the ride, or even if they need to evacuate people from it for whatever reason. So the net, I guess, has multi-use. It stops things from hitting people below, and it stops people from falling off as well. But I do use a net a bit halfway around the circuit. There may have been a jump in the time lapse, so I think I've already built that now. But yeah, I'm planning to have a bike trail that runs through this entire Alpine Coaster area, so that'll be quite a cool interaction. But of course I've got nets there in case something might fall and hit a cyclist below. A problem that I've had with this coaster type in the game is that for some reason they run in sets of 3, and normally you want them to run individually, but you can see that they all come together very closely, and then there's a huge gap with none of them. Normally they'd be more spaced out than that, but there's a problem with this game, and I don't know why that's a thing. But the game didn't let me change it, so basically all 3 of them are actually a train with 3 separate cars. I don't know why that's a thing, but they all run together, and it's quite annoying, but I don't think there's anything else I can really do to stop it. But yeah, if you do know how to fix that problem, then please just let me know in the comments. Or you can send me a message on Instagram. That is the same name as my YouTube channel if you want to give me a follow. I don't know why I'm promoting my Instagram. I'm really running out of things to talk about, because this has been quite a repetitive episode. You have seen me placing a lot of fences, and I have cut out some of it because it's the exact same thing, and I knew that I would have this problem struggling to talk about stuff. So imagine how much worse it would be if, I kept the whole lift hill, because you saw that was cut out. But yes, now I can talk about something. We're moving on. This is the exit of the ride. You can see how there's a little transfer track. I didn't record that because I wasn't sure how it would turn out, so I didn't want to record something that wasn't going to stay, and I did have a couple of different attempts at that. It took a while to get it sorted, but I'm quite happy with it now. And yeah, you can see here there is a little separate exit platform. This will help for operations if people can get off separately to where people will get on. And this was the case for Speed Mountain, the one that I rode. You exit before the train actually reaches the station. Ideally the train would stop, because whilst the train's moving it's going to be slightly more unsafe to get off, but I couldn't find a feature to allow the train to fully stop, so I've just got it moving at 2 miles an hour along these drive tyres, so hopefully they would be able to get off without any problem. But yeah, if they don't manage to get off, I guess it's not the end of the world, because they can get off in the station itself, but it just helps a lot more. But you can see, yeah, I'm using some concrete pieces to roof off this area. You can see that the station and the maintenance shed have sloped roofs, and because I'd already finished that building, I couldn't really continue the slope roof very easily, so I decided just to use a simple flat one being supported by these wooden beams. You can see here just letting people know that they're exiting arrow to the left so they know where to get off, and I'm just putting a bit of detail on here with the wooden planks. Obviously a lot of this is interior, so people won't be looking that closely at it all, but I thought just to show that I have thought about it, instead of just having it an operational building and nothing else, I just put some simple decorations around to make it look decent. And yeah, this is some more realism. These are Theme Maker Toolkit items, just putting them in randomly. But yeah, of course this is a transfer track, so they got to have some kind of source of electricity and a way to control the transfer track. But yeah, we are away from that building now, and we're just finishing putting some rocks and some bushes around. This is how we finished the last episode, and of course with this being a natural area, not much of it has been developed on. We are going to try and get a lot of random pieces in to make it look as natural as possible. So yeah, I'm just painting it, putting some rocks in, putting some bushes on, and later on you'll see some trees go in. But yeah, for realism again, just putting some fans, make the roof look a bit more complete, so it doesn't look too bare and empty. And here you see the name Alpine Coaster. I don't have a better name than that. Maybe it would be like that, it would be quite generic in real life, but if you do have a better name, feel free to leave the suggestion in the comments. But thank you so much for reaching the end of the video now, and yeah, hopefully you'll join me for part 5. So thank you all for watching, and goodbye.